Media Director's Interview, and today we have the director of an upcoming feature film, The Big Break, Avi Setton. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Thanks for being here. We did watch over your trailer. It's pretty cute. Do you know when you're going to release the feature?
We don't. We're getting ramped up right now for festival submissions. I think we're gonna have a cut for festivals in like mid-October. So it's end of September now, so in a few weeks.
Okay, very nice. And then, can you tell us about what the story is?
Yeah, it's about a man living with an AI partner that is on his phone, and a his roommate invites a social media addicted friend to come stay with them. Uh, and so it's really about these two men who have this really intimate or reliance on their relationship with their phone in very different ways.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like how it is with real life right now. Everyone's just attached to their phones at all time, including myself.
Yes. So I wanted to explore like the extreme types of attachments. One being like actual, this is my partner, versus like I am addicted to TikTok, which is like the two extremes playing out.
I get guilty of the TikTok. I doom scroll every night. I'm so guilty of that. And what inspired you to create that story is just to show how addicted people are and the relationships they have with this technology.
Uh, yeah, to an extent. I think a big part of it for me was I just wanted to make a movie, period. Um, I had limited resources. I had come off of it had been a really long process for me of trying to make I mean, I've been wanting to make a movie for 20 years, but in the past few years, I think I was really set on I'm going to make a movie myself. I have my own equipment. More or less could do it without a significant budget. But I kept writing projects that were slightly too ambitious and would fall apart. And then I just kept bringing it down and down and down until I was like, you know what? If I just put four people in a house and let that play out for 90 minutes, can I write a script where that's engaging? So I tried and it worked out. And yeah, I was really happy with the script at the end. And I wrote parts for specific people. So I knew like we have untrained actors in the film, so a lot of this was written specifically for them. But yeah, the concept for the story started at just like what can I do and still make it interesting. And I was like, well, I can make an AI character, and portray them pretty simply without costing a lot or doing anything terribly complex. Um, so I wanted to explore that, and I was thinking about what films had already explored that. And it was like Her, and there's a movie called Simone, and there are a couple others that have done this. And it's always very like a man um, sort of fawning over a female AI. And there's always this sort of like kind of, I guess, like a sexual component. And I kind of wanted to like strip that away. And so I made the AI character a man. It's a homosexual relationship. And they're like well past the honeymoon phase,
Mhm.
and they've been together for 7 years, and it's just like um what does that look like? Because that I think we might start seeing something more along those lines where it's not just like excitement. So I wanted to really like let that play out, and it worked out really well,
Nice.
I think.
Actually, when I was going to film school, a buddy of mine did something similar to that where um, it was AI robot, but it was a full person, and the guy who owned it was in love with this robot, and it was an interesting take because, like you said, it's usually a man who falls in love with the female version of technology, and seeing it from a gay man's perspective, totally different.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it.
Uh,
I think it's a new twist, and I think the audience will definitely like that. And so you said this is your first film.
it's my first feature, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to actually plan it out? Like, what was the biggest challenge developing the plot?
It's a good question. I made it so from when I started writing it to when I actually filmed it, there wasn't a lot of time. Like I did it quite rapidly. I think I wrote the script in a few weeks. Basically, it was like it was really like an experiment. I was like, you know what? This works. I'm gonna go forward with this. And so once I made that decision, it was like really a couple of months until I had everything in place, and we filmed it over the course of a week. And
Wow.
then we spent a year editing. So it wasn't all fast. And I should also say, like, yes, I did this all quickly, but like I said, I had several other projects that had kind of fallen apart before this.
Hmm.
And I went to film school 20 years ago. So like
Where
this
did you
has been
go?
a long time in the making to NYU.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I went to Ringling in Sarasota, Florida, so
Oh, nice.
definitely a clown college. So okay, so you had taken a couple months to write this out, a week to shoot it, and a year to edit.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Easy. So why did it take so long to edit this?
Because so when I made it, I assumed I was doing everything myself. So my crew was my wife and my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Those are my only two crew members on set. Neither of them had ever been on a film set before. And so like, I was doing my own cinematography, and like this is actually the camera I used, and it's quite manual. We had a lot of like I had to light everything. Uh the light, it's all cine lenses, like everything was very manual. So I had to like I didn't have much time to like kind of train them. And Tanya, my wife, is really doing like production management. So she was getting meals for everyone. So really my only like technical crew member was my brother-in-law, Rupak, and he had some experience making like instructional videos, but really had no idea like uh, uh the sort of he had never worked with this type of equipment before. So I was a little worried that it wouldn't like something would fail there because I really needed that technical help. But he was able to pick it up really quickly, and honestly like saved the production
Wow.
in that regard because he was just so helpful with lighting, with sound, and having one location for most of the film was obviously a huge help. But yeah, so I thought I would be editing it myself. My point is like
Yeah.
I thought I was just taking on as much as I could because because of
Because
the
it's your
like
project, right?
yeah, and again because like I was just slightly overly ambitious with these other projects. I
Hmm.
didn't have much of a budget. Everyone has been working for equity for the most part. Um, so I just assumed I would be editing it myself. But because it turned out so much better than I thought it would, I realized after I had my cut that I was like, you know what, I really need like some other editors to come in and help out. So that whole process took a while. I first had to like see who I could get for, ideally working for equity, which in the end is sort of what we're at right now. And that kind of has all kinds of challenges, asking people to work for trust, basically, and like optimism. It's not something I would recommend or that I like to do, but it's just a matter of circumstance.
Hmm.
But luckily, I did eventually get a really good team, but it took a while. Um, and yeah, that's really what it was. It was finding the right people, the right team, figuring out the right structure, and like really just letting them do their thing.
And it seems like it turned out pretty well because now you have a full project and it's going to be premiering
Yes.
soon.
Yes.
Besides having like a green crew and all this time to put it together, were there any other challenges that you had to face on set for you personally?
Um, I've been rusty. Like I said, I went to film school 20 years ago. I have done a lot of film work, but it's mostly like marketing stuff. It's been a long time since I like worked with actors. So that was just it took a little bit for me to like get back in the flow. It came quickly, but there was really four actors. Two of them had never acted before, and one of our actors who played the AI character is an AI engineer,
Oh,
which
wow.
helped out a lot. Yeah, but
Well, that's good. That's good.
yeah, I actually went to him for advice on how to film this AI character, and he was like, "Well, you should just have an actor." And then I was like, "Well, maybe you should be the actor," and that turned into that. And he's fantastic. He steals a lot of scenes, but he's in like you know another room in the house, completely like all the lights turned off, completely closed off. So he was just sitting in a chair, like because he was on like a FaceTime basically,
Yeah.
um, a video chat for like the whole shoot. And so that was hard to coordinate with him what was going on. He didn't know his eye lines because we had to he we could only see him, he couldn't see us
Hmm.
because otherwise you would see that like the PIP like in the bottom right corner. So we didn't
Yep.
want to have that on the screen. So yeah, that created its own set of challenges. Eventually we realized like he needed to come on set, see what was happening, and then go into his like little booth.
That's so
Um,
funny. I've
so
noticed,
yeah,
in my personal experience with working with actors, it's usually people who've never acted before do way better than people who have, at least
I
from what I've seen. Because they like they don't know they don't pick up on the bad habits usually that some actors will pick up on. So when you're trying to direct them in a certain way, they'll follow you like it's an intuition, like, yes, okay, I'll do it that way, just how they said it, because I know what they want, compared to someone who's like, oh, I have five different ways on how to act mad or
yeah,
sad.
I mean, if this film finds any kind of success, it's 100% because of the performances. So, and I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's that those who are untrained in acting, but like are passionate about the project,
Mhm.
they just put on these really raw performances. But I will say it's the right balance. So the actor who plays Charlie, who's the main character, is like a very experienced actor, and he kind of became like an acting coach on set. And I think it was the right balance. I think if every actor had no experience, I think it could have gone in the wrong direction. And if everyone was like a trained actor, that would have felt kind of stale.
Yeah,
It's having that right balance that just worked out really well for us.
completely agree with you. And so even though we only get a glimpse of the trailer, not the full feature, I could see it as like Napoleon Dynamite kind of style in a
Yeah.
sense. Is that what you're going for, or did you have a different like vision for it?
A couple people have pointed that out. I think there
Really?
are a couple. Yeah, yeah, they've made that exact comparison. Uh, I think there are Napoleon Dynamite-esque moments. There's a quality of that, but and I guess I should say when I started filming it, I thought it would be like a little bit more stylized, like Napoleon Dynamite or like, like not the extreme of like that or Wes Anderson or something, but just a little bit of like um I guess just stylized, as I can't think of a better word.
Okay.
But I think what actually turned out um is because of these really raw performances that it's actually not doesn't feel stylized. It actually feels like very like raw and real.
Yeah,
And so I think that was actually a breakthrough for me when I was like, this is the way the film should be edited. It should actually feel like real. So I'm hoping the end feels I'm hoping it has that sort of quirky comedy, but that it actually has like a it doesn't feel overly stylized. I think that was because we made that decision in post-production. Um, I don't know how well it was executed. I guess we'll see from people's reactions, but I think that's what really worked for us was realizing this isn't like a stylized film. It's actually like a real story. So let's
hmm.
embrace that as much as possible.
Were there during your post-production, did you have any scenes that you had to cut out that you really loved
In my cut, yes.
in your cut?
Yes. Um,
So you have your own version and the editor's version as well?
so I put a cut together by myself in like 3 weeks. That was like this was all based on like Sundance deadline and like of last year. So I like hurriedly put it together my own cut, submitted it to like 4 or 5 festivals
Wow.
until I realized like this is just one beyond my scope and that editing is not my like strong suit, and two that the film is actually good enough that I should actually pursue a post-production team. That was like a big realization for me. So I actually withdrew it from a bunch of festivals so that I could resubmit it this year. Um, and yeah, so in my cut, I actually lost a bunch of really good scenes because the film just turned out to be way longer than I thought. I was cutting it very linearly. I was letting the scenes like play out too long. But one of the really good things that my editors have come in and done is one, we created like a whole new opening that I think really solved the biggest issue is which was just like these first 10, 15 minutes, like getting started. And two is they've been like intercutting scenes much more fluidly and frequently so that a lot of the scenes that were lost have made their way back in, but like not played out in entirety, more like as just the right moments. So that's something that I think professional editors, they're good at that, and it's a skill that I really just hadn't honed. So yeah,
As
I'm
a
glad that.
as an editor myself, I'm looking forward to see how your editors had done with your project to see because yeah, putting the scenes not in a linear way, like
Yeah.
kind of like this weird juxtaposition makes the story come to life more.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to watching this.
Thank you.
And what kind of audience are you hoping to connect with your film?
Uh, I think it has a wide appeal. I think that's one of the unique things about this. I mean, I think it's a film probably for like people in their like 20s to 40s. Um, I think like yeah, I mean it's an adult film and not like adult, but like it's not it's a dark comedy and like not it definitely like I think at its surface might appeal to like cinephiles or people who are used to seeing like in indie comedies, but I do think there's something about the film, and it's been not verified, but people who've watched the rough cut and like my editors, and they've kind of like kept me optimistic about the quality in this film, that I really do think if it's presented to the right audience, well, could really have like maybe not mainstream appeal, but could really appeal to a much wider audience than you might think, and people might forgive the production value because that that is part of its charm in a
Yeah,
way. So I'm hoping that we figure out how to get it to the right audience. But yeah, it's a tough question to answer. So I think the people in their 20s to 40s is the best I
like
can think of.
40s. Yeah, yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. I'm seeing like sci-fi, LGBTQ, like
Yes, of course.
that community who I think would really be interested in this type of film. And I know you had a Kickstarter which ended yesterday, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll address that really quickly. Is that
Yeah, go for it.
we didn't actually want to do a Kickstarter. Kickstarter and Tubi were having a promotion where Tubi was choosing 10 films on Kickstarter that were near finished that they would give $10,000 to, and a 3-month streaming contract. And so we were, I have some cynicism for like the current state of the festival circuit and finding avenues of distribution. So I was like, you know what, this is actually a really cool idea. Let's try to do this. Did I think it required you to try to earn or raise 20 grand in Kickstarter, which I was like, that's not going to happen because we don't have enough like presence. This was before we even had any social media or like, we're not offering like t-shirts or anything. It was just asking for donations. But I read like the fine print. Tubi was like, you don't need to fund on Kickstarter. So that was the only reason we did that. I don't think we got it because I haven't heard from them. I actually don't even know that this like actually happened because
Oh no.
I haven't really seen 10 films on Kickstarter that would technically qualify. So I don't know what happened with that. But I do think it was a good idea, and I hope that more companies do stuff like this because there is a real dry spell right now for new voices in film, and I
Yes.
think people need to start being creative as to how to help emerging filmmakers get their voice out there.
Yes. This is why I started ClickPix Media to help independent artists because we're just seeing the same stuff on Netflix, the same stuff on streaming services. Nothing really new is being produced, and we have a million independent artists out there that have fresh new ideas, and that's why I can at least shine a little light on you guys so you get what you deserve. You get the recognition you deserve. Um,
Well,
and so we're near the end of our interview. Of course, of course. Do you have any tips for future filmmakers?
hmm. um, I when I was like out of film school, I really, I went to LA, worked in the industry, and like I felt a cynicism. This was like 2010s. Um, and I really think that was like the beginning of this dry spell. And it just felt impossible to be an independent filmmaker without $1 million to fund an independent movie. Think a lot has changed in terms of hardware. Like people can use their phones. Like there is a new, like much cheaper method to make a film. And so I would say to young filmmakers, fight, like do exactly what you're doing. Fight for before you think about making a movie, fight for the change in the industry so that you actually have a chance at a career. And it's what I'm trying to do now simultaneously is like really think about modes of distribution. One of the big movements right now, I think, is happening on Substack, which is the one platform I've been active on. There's a lot of people talking about this problem right now. So yeah, I don't know. My advice is like the just making something great isn't good enough. We have to make sure that there are outlets for that greatness to get to the right people. So it's people who are creatives and think about film as an art form tend to lose sight of like the business side of things, but it's really, really important. We've just went through like a 10-15 year period where um, there's just no emerging new voices. There's so few, and it's not right because there's so much talent out there. So I don't know.
Oh, that's very,
Right.
very good advice. Very good advice. Completely agree. A lot of great voices out there that need to be heard.
So
All right. And I know the big break is coming out next month, but are there any other upcoming projects that you might be having?
I'm writing the next script. So if Big Break is a success, I'll be ready to go with the next one, but nothing in production or anything like that. So that's it right now.
I will. I'll definitely keep a lookout if you have anything. I'll be following Substack and hopefully the big break makes the big break, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So can we let the audience know where we can find you on Substack?
Yeah, it's just my name at Avi Setton. Um, my publication's The Big Break. And we do have like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, which I think our handle's just The Big Break 2025. Um, so that's we're still building those out, but we might change the handle at some point since the movie might actually come out in 2026. So
Okay.
we'll figure that out. But if you want to follow it right now, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok is at The Big Break 2025. And Stack is my personal Substack, so it's just my name.
Awesome. Well, that is the end of
Yep.
our interview. Thank you so much for talking with me today about The Big Break, your feature film. I'm very excited to be seeing it hopefully this year and looking
Yeah,
forward
go
to your
for it.
next upcoming projects.
Thanks so much. And
All
yeah, thanks
right.
for doing this.
Have a great day.
Bye.